And of course, in science fiction, not only, but also in fantasy, we have these creatures. And if you think of a terrifying creature that exists, well, trust me, crocodiles are really dangerous. And if you put wings on a crocodile, and it can fly, and it can spit fire, okay, then you have dragons, right? So dragons are made up in every culture, basically. Lots of cultures, but basically think of something terrifying, stick wings on it, let it spit fire, it's worse, right? So we have some kinds of, a few dragons from movies that you might know. This is from Game of Thrones, this is from The Mandalorian, from Star Wars, this is from Avatar, and there's this one, of course. Recognize it already? This is a proper dragon, right? Yeah. This is Smaug from The Hobbit and Lord of the Rings. Well, he's not in Lord of the Rings, but from Tolkien, who wrote that. So basically, he was the one that put a lot of stuff into fantasy that is copied all over the place. But this is a proper dragon, right? Flying reptiles, breathing fire. So yeah, well, flying reptiles, you think, well, we have them. Well, gliding reptiles. Gliding or floating, basically. Active flying means that you actively push yourself upwards. But there is a dragon, a real dragon, that can float on the air. And he's going to show you. There he goes. Wait for it. And the other one is watching. This is actual.
Only in the jungle do you find lizards that can soar like dragons.
With the epic music, it's even better.
He can travel over 100 feet in a single leap.
30 meters, easily.
It's a very fast and efficient way to move through the jungle.
Okay, so it's not Game of Thrones yet, or Smaug, but still.
No resident owner.
Flying dragons, still, they exist. And flying is such a useful way of moving that it has been basically invented or evolved in the history of the Earth several times. The first time with insects, and this is a fossil of an insect, a butterfly insect, but the size is a bit different. It's this big. This is probably the biggest insect ever, and it has 4 wings, of course, as butterflies do, dragonflies. Dragonflies, that's the name. Dragonflies, and well, it doesn't exist anymore. But flying is very useful, and of course, we know that the ones that are left from the dinosaur period, birds can also do that. And we have this. I mean, this is a guy. He's really trying his best. I don't think she's very impressed by it, but whatever. These are hummingbees and birds, of course, and they are like this big, and they can do stuff like this. They hang in the air like bumblebees or bees, and to do that, their wings have to flap about 80 times per second. It takes a lot of food. They have to eat the half of their body weight every day to keep this up. So 40 kilos of sandwiches for me. And their heart, I shouldn't try this, their heart beats more than 1,000 times per minute to do this. So it's really quite an effort, but it looks terrific. And you can hear them. 80 hertz is a tone you can hear, right? You can hear them like, and it's a bird doing that. I mean, it's tremendous. So flying is really useful, and of course, this bird can use the flowers like bees and bumblebees do. Other birds couldn't do this. They just crash into the flowers, right? And this bird can use the food in the flowers. And of course, for the flowers, it's also useful. So flying is really useful, and we saw that before, of course, and I think that if we're going to another planet, if there is a gas atmosphere and there is life, we'll see flying life, definitely. Then of course Avatar. This is from Avatar, from the first Avatar movie. Last year there was a second Avatar movie. There will be, I don't know, many others. And in the jungle over there, there's a lot of bioluminescence. So plants and fungi that give off light, right? And it looks terrific, and you see him walking in the jungle, and where he steps, it lights up and everything. It looks fantastic, but silly, right? No. The thing is, in actual nature, we have creatures that do that too. Top right, this is nice. It's called the anglerfish. It's very dark, but there, you can see his teeth, right?
That thing's terrifying.
It's really terrifying. There's a nice light up there, and in the dark, of course, the creatures that are living down there are attracted to light. It's really remarkable. But underneath, there's this real big jaw, and it's going to eat you. Right, so it's useful for the anglerfish. And we have something called sea sparkle. Basically, a single-celled light that gives off light like this. This is nothing made up. This is an actual movie. It's actual stuff that you can do. And this is water that contains that. It gives off light. And then we have these mushrooms, sort of, I don't know, ghost fungus. It's a good name. And of course, a fungus like this has spores which it reproduces, and it wants its spores to travel, so it can just blow them out, or be eaten and basically pooped out somewhere else. And useful in the dark if you give light. So this is nice. In the dark you can see these fungi, and that's terrific. And of course we have insects also, fireflies, and they look like this. And they give out a lot of light. I was surprised by this. There's another one. So in the thorax, basically the sort of belly of the insect, there are chemicals that recombine and give off light. So, I mean, it can be useful in all kinds of ways. Also, if somebody wants to eat the insect and then gives off light, they're scared away. So they're not eaten. So it could be useful in all kinds of ways. So not so much fire, perhaps. Fire-breathing dragons, still a bit far away, but the light, the use of light in all kinds of ways is very useful.